Hello, in this card we're going to use a circle shaker cover to create a larger flower and a stadium card. So a lot of moving pieces on this one, so we are going to start with the shaker cover. Now there are two light yellow circles. If you hold them together, you want the smaller one. You do not want the bigger one, but the smaller one. And the reason you want the smaller one is it's going to fit inside, and it should be slightly small. It should be about 2 1/16 of an inch. This is a 3-inch circle shaker. So you want it to fit inside, and you want a little bit of a border around it. Okay, so set the other ones aside so we don't get mixed up. We're going to take that yellow piece, and you have letters that say thanks a bunch. And they're not all connected. So the U is separate and bunch, the B and the U. You have the letter A. And the thanks, the T is not connected. So we're going to take the word thanks and glue it inside. So it'll be inside the shaker. So we're going to glue it to this yellow piece. Now you could glue it on the outside. Perfectly fine. Actually, I think we are going to glue it to the outside. So I take that back. We're just going to take the shaker cover. The front side has film on it. It has a little sticker. We are going to set it down flat, front side up, and just take a piercing tool or a sharp tool to kind of scrape along the edge. I find it's easier if it's flat on a surface to grab the film. And the film does go from literally edge to edge. It covers the whole thing. Okay, so once the film is off, I'm going to set it face down. So the side that the film was on goes face down to the counter. Now this, I would put face down so that we're working on the back side of it. However, it's yellow cardstock. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to set that down separately right now so I can add adhesive. I'm going to take some double-sided tape and put it around the edge. Now you do not have to go all the way to the edge. You just want it so that when you have it in the shaker cover and fold the tab back, the tab will hit the adhesive. So I just take a couple strips and just kind of fold it along the edge. Again, not perfect, not completely up against the edge. I just kind of fold it as I go along, and then I'll tear off another piece. Okay, and then they're going to overlap there, and then I'm just going to take off the release paper on the adhesive. And okay, so now the adhesive is on the back side of the yellow circle. Like I said, this one's the same either way, but we want the adhesive side up so that the front side without adhesive goes onto the center. I have some dust on my mat, so I apologize. But it's going to go on the center. So now you have the adhesive and you have the tabs. And you can start folding the tabs. You want to center the cardstock circle in your shaker cover and start folding the tabs. So again, the back side is up, the adhesive's up, and then you can fold the tabs over. Do not fold all of the tabs. You do not want to enclose it. You want to fold up about half of them. You just want to go in a row, half, maybe a little bit more. So now these have all been folded over. These have not. And I have this pocket. So now I am going to pour the shaker pieces in, but I am going to take a few of them and set them out because you can use them for decorating the outside of the card. So I just have this little pile here of a few shaker pieces. I'm going to pour the rest in. I find using these pie trays work well. And then I'm going to start folding over the rest of the tabs. Now, one thing you'll want to do is kind of spread them out. And if you have any that are like standing up, you can grab your piercing tool and kind of reach in there and knock them over. But spoiler alert, some of them will still stand up no matter what you do. So those you just gotta let be. Okay, so now you want to finish. So then you can kind of shake them and spread them out. Now at this point, like I have something here standing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift up one of the tabs from the back. And just kind of reach in there with a piercing tool. So I don't think that really helped, but now I'm going to take this and the bigger yellow piece, I'm going to glue that into the center of that, and then we're going to glue that onto the pink flower to create our flower. But now when I glue this on, again, I want to cover the backside with adhesive. So if you have a wider adhesive, they work well, but I just start with a strip going right down the middle of the back. And I want to cover from this tab to this tab, but what I do not want to do is extend beyond the cardstock edge, so that if you look at it from the front, if you had adhesive that goes to the shaker cover edge, you will see that. So I'm just going to do strips across the back. Until I have adhesive on all of the tabs. And so now that I have adhesive on all of the tabs, I'm going to peel off the release tape. Now, before I adhere this to the larger yellow circle, I'm going to do one more round of adhesive. I'm going to use liquid adhesive, and I'm going to go around the outside edge. So I get all of the tabs one more time. So the double-sided tape will hold it in place while the liquid dries, and it just gives it an extra, a little bit of an extra strength. Okay, so we're going to just center that on the yellow. And I think that that just gives it a little bit more of a finishing edge. Now, what you do not want to do at this point is take your palm and press it down into the center, because some of these shaker pieces could pop through. But if you turn it over and just kind of rub it, again, you're not putting a lot of force on it, but you just want to make sure that the adhesive glue adheres to it. Now, and this is the other thing about this, is it's not going to be perfectly flat because it is a shaker cover. Or it's going to be a shaker card. So once that's pretty secure, you can flip it over, and on the front side, we're going to glue the word thanks. Now, I know it's kind of scary putting glue on acetate. So what I recommend, first I like using a tweezers to hold it in place, or to hold it. Then I just put adhesive. You don't need a lot of adhesive, just a very thin coating. And I kind of keep it more towards the center, or I try to keep it towards the center of the letters. Doesn't always work. But the key is that when you would place it down, if you get any adhesive seeping out onto the acetate, do not grab like a Kleenex, a paper towel, or a wet wipe, because that will just smear it more. You're better off either letting it dry or scraping it with like a fingernail. Okay, so the T is really 2 pieces. So I'm going to glue that on. And you can see like the glue is kind of seeping out from that thin area, and I'm just going to let it just make sure it's adhered well and set that aside. So now we have the shaker done. We might as well finish up with getting the letters glued down. So we're going to take this green piece. So there's a straight green piece and a green piece that has these ends that kind of come up on the end. Now this piece does have score marks on there. They are fairly, they're really faint, but it's where each of these, the score marks is wherever it kind of changes level, like right here where it flattens out, then you have the angle, you have another score line. The other side, same thing, right where you have it flat across the front and then start angling up, you have a score line. And when it angles up and becomes flat again, you have another score line. So let's just pre-fold these. So it should be flat on the bottom, and all folds go inward. Okay, so now in this middle piece, glue the word "a bunch." And now it might be kind of harder since we folded it. I'm going to set that on there to kind of hold it in place. I'm going to kind of space out the letters. And then glue them down. Okay, and then make sure the letters are going the right way. Okay, so now that we have that glued down, we're going to take one of the blue arch pieces. What we're going to do is glue these, the last section on each side gets glued to the back. So it's going to wrap around. It's going to be flush with the bottom with the flat edge. And we're just going to glue those 2 sections to the back, and then the front will come out like the stadium. Kind of reminds of like a fry box or something. So we're just going to start with adhesive on the inside of each of these tabs. And then again, the important thing is that we want everything flush with the bottom edge. So you can see how it just perfectly wraps around. And then it should stand up. Now for strength, what we're going to do is take the second blue piece and just glue it directly on top of that. It's going to hide these green flaps and it's going to reinforce them. So again, we're just going to put glue all over the back of one of the blue arch pieces. Put the piece on there. Line it together. Just kind of hold it together. All right, so then you have this strip. You have one more green strip. Again, there are score marks on there. And so you're going to fold it in at the score marks. So they're both folded up. And now what this piece does is it's going to go in the center here. You can put it so that the tab part gets flush with the back edge. If that makes sense. When you set it in there, this tab is going to be flush with the blue arch piece on both sides. So now we're going to glue it in by just putting glue on these end tab pieces. And then I kind of fold it to fit it in there. And again, if you have a reverse grip tweezers, you can use that to kind of hold it in place. It is kind of tight for getting your fingers in there. Okay, so now we have our stadium. We still have a big flower, so we can glue the yellow shaker cover just centered on the flower. And to do this, I'm going to just put some tape on there and then again reinforce it with the liquid glue. And then again, liquid glue. And it's fine to get the liquid glue on the double-sided tape. And then center it in your big pink flower. Again, you can flip it over and just kind of rub it to make sure that it's all adhering. But again, you don't want to put too much pressure on it that the pieces are going to pop through the front of the shaker cover. All right, so now we have the things and it's a big flower. So now we're going to put glue and glue it to this yellow. So from the back, you can raise it up a little bit, but basically it's going to glue like that. So then on the front side, again, you want to make sure the thanks is parallel or at an angle. So you're going to put glue. I'm going to put it on here. And then I'm going to position the flower so I can read it. All right, so now once that's dry, we have our stadium card. So now the last thing is we have a handful of these sprinkle pieces left, and we have all of these flower pieces. So the flower pieces, you can put the centers in them. You can use the flowers to go in the center. You can use leaves behind them, and you can use them to decorate the front, the sides, this middle bar, but you can use those to finish decorating your card. So I'm just going to speed up the video and get these decorated. And there you go. You can decorate with as many flowers as you want on the front or as few, but there you have your Thanks a Bunch Stadium card.